How is it going, guys? LinuxDaily back with another video. Today's video is about what Linux distribution should you run. So I've got a couple virtual machines for this video, a couple different Linux distributions. This is Fedora. We haven't played around Fedora in quite a while on the channel. Just installed it. So that's just the GNOME setup right there. So Fedora. So depending on what you want with a Linux distribution, like if you want it to be the most stable thing in the world, go for more of a Debian based system. Debian is known to be one of the more stable Linux distributions out there. But given that the packages that you install or that come pre-installed will not be the most up-to-date, actually. If you want the more up-to-date packages, like if you want the latest version of LibreOffice, for example, you will more than likely want to go with something in a rolling release, like Arch Linux. Arch Linux is a rolling release. Fedora, the system that I'm currently on right now, is one of the more stable out there as well. So here's the Debian's website. Free, easy installation, comes with over 51,000 packages, pre-compiled. Didn't mean to click on that. Comes with a net install, so minimal amount of space on the ISO. That ensures that you also get the latest packages ported to Debian. But you do not get the latest packages. But if we go over to Arch Linux over here, this is a rolling release. So all the packages are the latest, but given that it is not stable at all, I wouldn't consider it stable. They're also harder to use, and you gotta really know what you're doing. In case if you update it and a thing quits booting, you've gotta know how to fix it. This is not a Linux distribution by no means that I will recommend to a new user, but it does include the AUR, which has some nifty packages. Gotta watch out when you're using the AUR though. But if you're looking for a system that's more of a Mac kind of feel, like a stable Mac kind of feel, let's close out of Firefox here. Close tabs. GNOME, like Fedora with GNOME, is probably a good option. You get the little dock over here. Let's jump over to another one that has a real similar look to a Mac as well, that is also stable. Alright guys, you're probably going to recognize this one. We did a video about this last night. Elementary OS. It is built off of Ubuntu, so Ubuntu is built off of Debian. So it is a more stable operating system, laid out really similar to a Mac. So if you're coming from a Mac over to Linux, this might look familiar to you. I've never used a Mac, so I don't know how similar this part is, but it wouldn't really get that hard to get used to. But you get your App Center and all that. So if that's what you're looking for, there's that. It's laid out really similar to a Mac. This one's not the most customizable operating system, but coming from a Mac, this will be a distribution that you want to take a look at. If you go over here in the settings and go over to about, it's built off 18.04 long-term support, so you're not going to run out of support for elementary OS anytime soon. Just a nice Linux distribution. Elementary OS is what this one was. Let's hop over to another Linux distribution really quick. Alright guys, this is Manjaro Linux. This one is built off of Arch. I'm trying to keep this video about the main three package managers, Pacman, apt, and yum. This one has the Pacman package manager. It is built off of Arch, so it's a rolling release, so it's not that stable actually. So this is Manjaro KDE. So if you're coming from a Windows operating system, this will be a more familiar operating system for you to get used to. Has that same sort of Windows 7 kind of outline to it. But I still wouldn't recommend it for a new user, just because it is built off of Arch. Not stable, rolling release. And the GUI options for your package management, someone brought that up to me in the comments. It is really not that pleasing to look at. Like Octopi over here, if we pull that one up really quick, it doesn't look as clean as something else like Ubuntu based, or the package management in elementary, the GUI option that is. But it just does not look as clean as some of those. So if you want a more user-friendly experience, you want to be familiar with the terminal. But this one being built off of Arch, not that stable, but it has more of a Windows kind of feel to it. So this one is Manjaro with the KDE option. There's also some other ones. But if you're looking for a distro to get familiar with Linux, and you have an extra computer laying around that can handle it, throw this on it, or Arch Linux. Watch a video on how to install it, or get a install script off the internet somewhere. But if you want to get good with Linux, go with something Arch based. But if you're going to use it on your main computer and you're just switching over to Linux, I would recommend something Ubuntu or Debian based. Saying that, let's go to another Debian Ubuntu based distribution really quick. Last but not least, we got Linux Mint. I know there's a lot more Linux distributions than what I included in this video, but these are kind of some of the bigger ones out there. It's kind of impossible to put all of them in one video. There's just way too many of them, but that's how free Linux is. So many options, so many choices. So with that being said, this is our final distribution we'll be taking a look at in this video. It's Linux Mint, one of the better ones out there. This is probably the one I would recommend to a person wanting to switch to Linux from Windows. Manjaro KDE is nice, but if you want a nice community and you want really nice, stable, this is the one that you would want. This is Linux Mint. It's stable, it's built off. This one is not the Debian edition, this is the regular Ubuntu Linux Mint. So you have a choice there if you want to go Linux Mint Debian edition, LMDE, or if you want to go regular Linux Mint, which is built off of Ubuntu. They're both stable, they're both nice, but with LMDE, you get Debian repositories instead of Ubuntu. It still has apt and all that for your terminal package manager, but I just showed you the package manager right here. Type in our very secure password. Wait for it to load. See, it's unlike the Manjaro KDE one that we took a look at, this one is actually organized into different sections. So if we go to like programming, there's a lot of packages currently available. But if we go here to like programming, it has nice icons, it has a rating. Everything's just all kind of nice and neat. It has a brief description of what it does, what it is. Let's go to games. Wine, the Microsoft Windows compatibility layer. That's a neat program. But everything is just all nice and organized in the package manager on like Manjaro. So this is the distribution I would recommend for a new Linux user switching from Windows. Now, if you're switching from a Mac, I'd probably recommend like Fedora or Elementary or something in that nature. But I would keep the Arch based or like Gentoo and all of that for the people who have a little bit more experience and know what they're doing with Linux. But really, what Linux distribution should you use? Really, it's all personal opinion. If you like the look of like a Mac, go for like Elementary or Fedora or something in that nature. Or if you want, there's so many options out there you can choose from. What I would recommend is downloading a lot of different Linux distributions and we're just running them in like a virtual box or something and see which one you like. And then if you find the one you like, install it on your computer and get to know it. That's what I would do. That's how I found Manjaro. I use Manjaro i3, but for my YouTube production I go for Plasma, which what we saw already in today's video. But that's what I've got for this video. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments which Linux distribution you use, if you currently use Linux. I'd like to know. But yeah, it's all down to personal preference on what you want to use as your Linux distribution. So many about them to choose from. Go to like Distro Watch and find a few. Just get to know them. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Catch you in the next one.